Williams.
It's where the La Crosse area gets its news. WIZM News at WIZMnews.com.
We've got a really great show for you tonight.
Man, do we have a show for you today.
Welcome back to the show.
We got a great show for you today.
You all seem to enjoy the show, even though it isn't based in reality.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
This is where I work my radio magic.
I love what I've heard so far, and we're going to get this show on the road.
You're all set up, Big Daddy. 8 watts of pumping power. Well, let's get started.
Yes!
Already having the time of our lives, and we're just getting started tonight.
Okay, folks, let's get this party started.
All right, we have a great show for y'all tonight.
Our show is reality. I don't have to read, act, or think.
And the show now is, as you know, an international sensation.
It's showtime, baby! Already having the time of our lives, and we're just getting started tonight.
Okay, it's magic time.
There is cause for celebration on our show.
It's showtime.
Let's get this party started!
Yeah!
Good morning, La Crosse. Welcome to a Monday of the week and La Crosse Talk. I'm Rick Solem. Coming up at the show, La Crosse School Superintendent Dr. Aaron Engels join us at bottom and a half the hour. La Crosse County Administrator Jane Claycamp is going to join us next hour. That's it. That's all we're doing. No, just kidding. Well, it is kind of all we're doing. But some of the things we're going to talk about, Tony Evers unveiled his version of the state budget. So I kind of am curious how both of these entities look at that, and do they pay attention? Do they do any planning in terms of what Evers proposes? Do they do any pushing for some of that stuff to come to fruition? Because Republicans control the legislature still, and they're not going to come out and say they want to do any of the things that Evers wants to say. So they want to come up with their own budget. They've done that every time. I think Evers has been in the governor's office. So I'm curious to see how the county board reacts to anything that Evers does budget-wise, and how the La Crosse School District reacts. Other things with the school district, I want to talk about the climate action plan they unveiled. The setting long-term vision for net zero carbon emissions and a 50% reduction in landfill waste by the year 2050, which is 25 years away. Is that possible? Is that difficult? Is it going to be easy? And what are some of the ways to do that? Eat all the food on your plate at lunch. That would be one of the ways, maybe. Little bit of news in sports, kind of like 3 awesome local stories, and the Bucks won yesterday. Giannis played 32 minutes, which is important because he was on a minutes restriction with his strained calf. I know how that feels, Giannis. He nearly had a triple-double, 23 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists. He only had 3 turnovers. In fact, the Bucks only had, the starters only had 4 turnovers. So Lillard only had 1, which is kind of crazy as a point guard. And the Bucks got their first look at Jericho Sims, who they traded for. He scored 1 basket, but it was awesome, and it came from the other Bucks newcomer, Kevin Porter Jr. And Kevin Porter Jr. only played 14 minutes, but he scored 11 points. So this guy is just he's come in, Kevin Porter Jr., and kind of taken on this role. I don't know. He's a little bit of a fire starter for the Bucks. Get the fire lit under your butt, your butt. So that's cool to see the Bucks win again. I think that's their 4th or 5th in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4th in a row. They play the Rockets tomorrow night on the road. Before, this would be a good game. Denver at home Thursday. Nikola Jokic plays for Denver. He's as much of a must-see TV, must-hear radio person to see or hear or watch as Giannis Antetokounmpo is. On the local side, 3 stories. So the Badgers women's hockey team, I'm pretty sure, I wasn't paying attention super early, but I'm pretty sure they probably weren't the number 1 ranked team to begin the season because they lost the national championship last season to Ohio State. And Ohio State was probably the number 1 ranked team, but as the season has gone on, they've been the number 1 ranked team even through their 1 loss and 2 ties. They remain the number 1 ranked team in the nation. They won a pair over Bemidji State over the weekend, 6-1. Both games were 6-1. Why we care about that, not only is it Badgers hockey, not only are they the number one ranked team in the nation with what is their record? I think it's 31-2. They have one loss, 2 ties. They Katie Kotlowski, who you may have heard on Lacrosse Talk PM a couple of weeks ago, she's from Lacrosse, spent her hockey years, let's just say I don't know what you call like pee-wee hockey, but she spent her like pee-wee hockey years here in Lacrosse, got her love for hockey started here, and she plays on the team. She's not a starter this year, but she's been a starter since 2021 when they won the national championship. So I think the first 3 or 4 years, because she's been in college, I think 5 years because of COVID, they skipped they did the whole extra year. She's in that window where she's in the full window, and so is Lexi Donarski, who I'll talk about in a minute, where she got to play the extra year, but she's been a starter on defense every year until I think this year. She plays third line now, but so it's hard to write about. Like I insert her into all the stories, but defense doesn't always get stats. And she had a couple of blocks, but that's about it. But the Badgers won a pair. Regular season has now ended. The NCAA tournament starts March 13th. Before that, there's a conference tournament, and they start that next weekend, and they'll play the same team. When we come back, I'll talk about how Lexi Donarski has been doing and the North Carolina women's basketball team, which has been also red hot. Not as hot as the Badgers, but pretty dang close. And Lauren Jarrett, she runs for UW La Crosse. She's a Logan High graduate. I should say Lexi's an Aquinas graduate as well. She did something that was pretty amazing over the weekend, too, for UW La Crosse on the national, or you could even say the world stage. We'll be back.
Let's do this. Let's go to Nashville. I'm Jean Taylor, and we're headed to Nashville. This trip is totally turnkey. No work at all for you, just fun. And lots of it. We head out on April 9th, returning on April 13th, and in between all the things Nashville. The Grand Ole Opry is celebrating its 100th year, so a great concert with great seats. General Jackson Showboat Cruise, including food and entertainment. A tour of all of Nashville's major sites, okay? Music Row, recording studios. We'll do some line dancing, the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Walk of Fame, and more. Plus, you'll get to experience downtown Nashville. Listen to bands, do some shopping. Trip includes all your tickets for all the entertainment, round-trip transportation, hotels, 8 meals, and of course the fun. I'm taking my girls. Grab your friends, family, and join us. Find out more at wiscotrips.com. We're going to Nashville. Spring break in the Music City. Now, doesn't that sound nice? Let's make some memories. Find out more, including full daily itineraries, at wiscotrips.com.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew. Wait, Mom, what?
What?
What'd you say? Wait a second.
I'm Mark with Greenaway, Roofing, Siding, Gutters, and more. It's home show season, which is a pretty big season around the Cooley region here. A lot of people are thinking, spring to the 1st of May. So now is a great time to call, and we do a lot of those projects in the summer. Make sure you stop by the home show at the Omni Center. Stop by and see us at our booth. It starts March 28th.
Greenaway Roofing, Siding, Gutters, and more. Protect and restore.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Bucks have won 4 in a row. That's after rallying against Miami last night for a 120-113 win. Milwaukee trailed by 8 headed into the fourth quarter when a lineup that didn't include Damian Lillard nor Giannis Antetokounmpo went on a 12-2 run to take the lead. Kevin Porter Jr. had 5 points, 2 assists in that run. One of the new additions since the All-Star break. Porter Jr. knows when the Bucks' big two aren't on the floor, others need to step up.
Of course, those are 2 vital, big pieces to this team. And when they're off the court, we all have to elevate and either maintain or take the league how we did today and go on a 12-2 run. But, everyone's game got to elevate. And for me individually, I'm a natural-born scorer and a playmaker, so I definitely lock in a little more in playmaking when they're off the floor.
Porter Jr. had 11 points for Milwaukee. Lillard led the way for the Bucks with 28 points, 8 assists. Giannis had 23 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists. Gary Trent Jr., 16 points off the bench for Milwaukee. The Heat got 40 points from Wisconsin native Tyler Hero. Milwaukee will be at Houston tomorrow. tomorrow. Turning to the Badgers, they're going to practice today as they get ready for a visit from Washington tomorrow. They'll be looking to bounce back after blowing a 16-point second-half lead to Oregon on Saturday and losing in overtime.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
You're grateful for all the ways technology can connect us. Unfortunately, there are online scammers who want to take advantage. Malicious viruses, phishing scams, and identity theft are more prevalent than ever. That's why Rural Mutual includes cybersecurity protection as an option on every policy.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the NFL Combine gets going this week in Indianapolis. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst slated to meet with the media tomorrow morning. And the Brewers going to face the Mariners this afternoon out in Arizona as Cactus League play continues. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Had a pretty fun Lacrosse Talk PM on Friday with UW Lacrosse political science professor, Dr. Anthony Tergosky. We talked about some fun stuff. Also had fun talking about some of the political stuff as we get to the end of a mayor's race about a month and a week away. We're going to have a new mayor of Lacrosse, Chris Kalo or Shondell Washington Spivey. It was pretty interesting in terms of some of the conversation was about one issue or single issue voters and so like abortion, maybe somebody wouldn't vote, but they have a strong stance on abortion and they would go and vote based on just that. They don't care about anything else. They don't read about anything else. They don't even vote for anything else on the ballot except for the maybe people running that are pro or con abortion. And so some of the conversation was about city administrator. Would that be a single issue? Would that bring people to the polls based on that one single issue? Would it bring people for it or against it, right? But then we kind of talked about city administrator in a little bit deeper. Do we need to know the mayor's position on if they're for or against the city administrator before you cast a ballot? Shondell Washington Spivey's made it pretty obvious where he stands, and Chris Kalo kind of walked the line from what I've seen from the forum. So we've heard from them during the 4-candidate forum a couple of weeks ago. Chris Kalo is also on the city council, and the city council voted to create a working group, voted to put off hiring a city administrator and instead create a working group to study the idea of city administrator, and then come back with that working group would come back and report to the city council after the election. So a new city council. So some of the people on that working group wouldn't even be on the city council potentially. And they would present to a new city council. They might still be there, but they would have been voted out. But they will present their findings. And then the city council would decide whether to hire a city administrator, perhaps. I don't know if it's set in stone that they have to. I should ask a city council member about that. But they would decide whether or not, and then the mayor would have to sign off on it. The mayor could veto that as well. So I don't know if a mayor would do that if the city council agrees to have a city administrator. But it was pretty interesting conversation. And the other maybe more interesting and kind of a weird time to talk about it, but we started the curd wars as well, the cheese curd wars, which seem really important and could be expanded. I'm going to have to get Abram Dyke in here from Abe's Raves, the foodie on Facebook. I'm going to have to get his take on this. Emails, messages, text messages will be sent out and see if he's working on anything like this. But the conversation had to do with a very slim margin of what should be an expanded version of the cheese curd wars that we could have here in La Crosse or in Wisconsin. because the part of the conversation we had was that Culver's and Quick Trip have very different cheese curds now, and Quick Trip is winning the battle because they changed up their cheese curds. Chergosky, the political scientist, also just rabble-rouser here, starting this war between Quick Trip and Culver's. We could see if we can get it going. Who has the better cheese curds? It seems obvious, right? Like Culver's would have the better cheese curds, right? That's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't the fast food joint that specializes in making food, specializes in being like pro-dairy, Wisconsin dairy, all things cheese, Butterburger, just kind of like that avenue. But apparently Quick Trip changed it up enough to, according to Chergosky, who doesn't take a position on anything political, Chergosky says Quick Trip's cheese curds better. Now, caveat, he was very hungry at the time. One other bit of news. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I would imagine we're going to have a big open slot during the Wisdom hour, or during the Wisdom day. I don't know how fast this will happen, but Dan Bongino, the host on Wisdom during the day, he is going to be the next FBI deputy director. So it goes Kash Patel, right? Is it Patel? And then is the deputy director the next in line? So Dan Bongino, a former Secret Service agent, I don't know what other qualifications he has besides being a conservative host on the radio and having a podcast and being a Fox News pundit, right? Being on TV, good-looking guy, right? We need that too as well as part of this administration. Central casting, is that the term? That's the phrase, right? Central casting. But he's going to be FBI deputy director. So I highly doubt the guy that kind of took the spot from Rush Limbaugh after he passed away in 2021, took the spot. Rush Limbaugh played. He was on Wisdom since his start, I believe, in the 80s. He's always been on Wisdom. And when he passed away, we kept playing Rush Limbaugh for a while, just like throwbacks to Rush Limbaugh, which is probably kind of cool. Maybe we should do that again in the lieu. If in the meantime, if Dan Bongino leaves, go back and play some old Rush Limbaugh episodes again. But Rush Limbaugh passed away. Dan Bongino took his place, and now Dan Bongino will. You can't do a 4-hour radio show as FBI deputy director, right? I know the UW Green Bay men's basketball coach, Doug Gottlieb, who's like he used to be on ESPN. He's got his own podcast. He still does his podcast, but he also coaches the UW Green Bay men's basketball team, and they're not very good. This is his first year doing that, and you would wonder why he's doing that, because let's see here, they're 1-17 in the conference and 3-26 overall. So probably not a great idea to do both, and especially when you're the FBI deputy director, right? All right, we got to take a break.
Want to know a secret weapon to building trust with potential customers? Radio. That's right. Studies show that radio increases brand trust by a whopping 58%. Now combine that trust with a deep understanding of our audiences and the targeted reach of our digital campaigns, and Midwest Family's Brand Accelerator system becomes a red-hot turbocharger for your business. Turn our fans into your fans with the Brand Accelerator system. Visit MidwestFamilyLacrosse.com, a proven system to build brand awareness faster.
Medicare can be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Inspire Medicare is a local family-owned agency who's been helping individuals navigate the complexities of insurance for nearly 40 years. Inspire Medicare offers personalized guidance and support, helping you find the plan that fits you. They will walk you through your options, answer your questions, and help you enroll with ease. Learn more at InspireMedicareLLC.com. Don't have Medicare stress you out. Let Inspire Medicare help.
In poker, 4 of a kind is great, but for your home, the 4 seasons are tough. Protect your home with roofing and siding from Ace of All Trades. Your best bet is to call Ace of All Trades for a free roofing and siding estimate. Ace of All Trades, AOATExtreme.com. Repeat after me, AOATExtreme.com.
Get the latest news delivered to your inbox daily. Sign up for the Wisdom Insider at WIZMnews.com. The Wisdom Insider is brought to you by A1 Glass.
As I see it, I'm Brad Williams. What does your clothing say about you? Do you try to make a good impression? Do you identify with the Woodstock era in that you can wear what you want and you don't care how others react? Or do you purposely wear something provocative to make others upset? For example, maybe you live in Wisconsin, Packers territory, and decide to wear a Vikings or Bears shirt just to rile people up. Supporters of President Trump have sent out an online advertisement for a t-shirt under the heading New Trump Merch. The sales pitch is for an official Doge shirt with the pictures of Trump and Elon Musk on them. The sales message was, "Can you imagine the looks you'll get from radical liberals when you wear that shirt? It'll be hysterical," they say. So wear this shirt to show your support for Trump, and in the process, you'll make other people mad or possibly make them cry. I remember the first President Bush campaigning in the 80s on the theme of a kinder, gentler America. I don't think wearing a shirt to make other people upset is what he had in mind. I'm Brad Williams on WIZM.
La Crosse's source for news and information. WIZM is WIZM. La Crosse, News Talk 1410 AM, 92.3 FM.
CBS News Brief. Midnight tonight is the deadline Elon Musk has given federal workers to come up with a list of what they did last week or face layoffs. CBS's Nancy Cordes.
This mass email is now causing mass confusion. Federal workers at the Defense and State Departments, DHS, Intel are among those at numerous agencies now being told not to answer it.
An update on the 88-year-old Pope who remains in critical condition at a hospital in Rome where he's being treated for double pneumonia. Correspondent Seth Doan.
Blood tests are revealing early signs of kidney failure. We've learned the Pope is also receiving high-flow oxygen through tubes in his nose, and he is continuing to get blood transfusions.
In Ukraine.
It's an important day for all of us to be here.
Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau and EU leaders meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky to mark 3 years since Russia invaded the country. CBS News Brief. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
When you want to know what's happening in La Crosse, there's only one place to find out. La Crosse Talk on WIZM. Every weekday morning from 6 to 8 a.m., bringing in local guests to discuss local topics and how they affect you. We'll take your phone calls to talk local, regional, and national issues. La Crosse Talk on WIZM is brought to you by Sealands Flooring, Carpeting, Hardwood, and Tile in Coon Valley. When La Crosse wants to talk, we're ready. La Crosse Talk, 6 to 8 a.m. weekdays on WIZM News, 92.3 FM and 1410 a.m.
I'm Andrew Dickinson. I work for Dickinson Family Funeral Home.
I'm Brian Dickinson. A very common question that we get at the funeral home is, Mom or Dad or Grandma and Grandpa, we're coming towards the end, but what are our next steps? What we tell them is that the only thing that they really need to do is just call us and we'll take it from there. There's really nothing that they need to think about at that time other than spending the last moments with their loved one. Dickinson Family Funeral Homes. Our family serving your family for over 60 years.
Life is a journey marked by milestones that shape who we are. Whether it's setting your children up for success or preparing for a fruitful retirement, the route is different for each of us, but the destination is the same. Financial security, peace of mind, and the freedom to enjoy life's most important moments. Whatever you need to reach your goals, from investing to personalized financial planning, your local team at Emerge 360 will guide you every step of the way. Emerge 360, helping you plan for what's next.
Save big money on everything for your next painting project right now at Menards. Keep your walls and trim protected with Scotch Blue Sharp Lines Painter's Tape. This multi-surface tape can be easily removed without leaving behind residue, making it perfect for your next painting project. Save big money on Sharp Lines Painter's Tape. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
For WIZMnews.com, I'm Brad Williams. The La Crosse area may feel more spring-like this week, with the Weather Service predicting highs in the 40s or even 50s. Monday's high could come close to 50 following 2 weeks of temperatures mostly below normal. The city had daily low temps below zero from Monday through Friday of last week, and Saturday's high of 30 was the warmest temperature in La Crosse in over 2 weeks. A man from Illinois awaiting charges in Trempealeau County after trying to run from a deputy. Just before 10 p.m. on Friday, the deputy saw a vehicle speeding on I-94 near Osseo. As the deputy went to pull over the vehicle, it left the interstate and drove into Osseo. The suspect eventually drove into the parking lot of a business, lost control, and crashed into a parked semi-trailer. An airline which departed La Crosse for good 2 years ago might be lured back to restore regular passenger flights. The city's aviation board has been told of progress in perhaps getting Delta Airlines to resume service through La Crosse, which ended in the summer of 2023. J.D. Roberts, the airport business manager, recently reported to the board about his meetings with several airlines at an out-of-town conference.
They will meet with airports and things like that, trying to further conversations about, returning to airports, having some additional service, different things like that. So we had a really successful one. We talked with 6 different airlines this last time.
Roberts says a pilot shortage was a major reason why Delta ended its regular service to La Crosse, but the shortage has abated. American Airlines still offers flights through La Crosse, and Sun Country will soon begin a bus transfer service between La Crosse and Minneapolis. La Crosse's Katie Kotlowski and the top-ranked University of Wisconsin women's hockey team finished the regular season off with a pair of 6-1 wins this weekend at Bemidji State. Kotlowski is in her final collegiate season and plays defense for the 31-2 Badgers. Their only loss this season came at number 2 Ohio State back in mid-November. Wisconsin now heads home to open the conference tournament with, again, Bemidji State in a 3-game series on Friday and Saturday. UW plays the first 2 games at home, which are both already sold out. The NCAA tournament starts March 13th. Onalaska native Lexi Donarski was perfect on Sunday in scoring 13 points as the number 9 North Carolina women's basketball team came back to beat Louisville on the road, 79-75. Donarski played a team-high 37 minutes and was 5 for 5 from the field, including 2 of 2 from deep for the 25-4 Tar Heels. They're the only team in the NCAA unbeaten on the road. Donarski in her final collegiate season has now scored in double figures for 8 of her last 11 games. Over that stretch, the North Carolina team is 10-1 and has won 7 in a row. For WIZM News, I'm Brad Williams.
Whenever you need to know what's happening, WIZMnews.com.
All right, coming up in a couple of minutes, La Crosse School Superintendent Dr. Aaron Engel. A couple of you texted in that Dan Bongino was also a New York City cop. Bongino has been named FBI Deputy Director. So he's a cop and a former Secret Service agent. And then another person asked me about what Evers labeled women. I have Joe Billings on tomorrow, so we might talk about that tomorrow. All right, when we come back, Aaron Engel.
In poker, 4 of a kind is great, but for your home, the 4 seasons are tough. Protect your home with roofing and siding from Ace of All Trades. Your best bet is to call Ace of All Trades for a free roofing and siding estimate. Ace of All Trades, AOATExtreme.com. Repeat after me, AOAT Extreme.com.
Solem's Carpetland, your family comes first. We're more than just a flooring store. We're your partners in creating a home that lasts a lifetime. Discover a world of comfort and durability with our huge selection. Whether it's cozy carpeting for your living room, timeless hardwood for a classic touch, or versatile tiles that stand up to the hustle and bustle of family life. Solem's Carpetland in Coon Valley. Our number 1 priority is you. Stop in today.
I'm on the line with Kevin Carlson from Rural Mutual Insurance in Holmen. Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Ken.
I know it's tax season. What does that have to do with talking to you about insurance?
Well, Ken, with tax season upon us right now, generally a lot of people start looking at their finances. Are they on track with their strategy or their plan? It's a good opportunity to make insurance part of that financial plan. So whether we're talking about auto, home insurance, or life insurance, making sure your coverage is updated and you're prepared for anything that might come along in the new year.
To be prepared, that's really what it's all about, right?
It is. And again, I'm just telling people make insurance part of that financial plan.
How do we find you, Kevin?
You can reach me at 608-526-2426. I'm located in the post office building in Holmen.
And if we want to just Google Kevin Carlson, Rural Mutual Insurance, I bet we'll find you that way too, huh?
You sure will.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's Dr. Terry Cowgill, and I'm still keeping you smiling at Badger Smiles. We've made it a priority to get people in the same day they call. So if you have a problem with your tooth, something that hurts when you bite on it, something just doesn't look right, call the office. You'll speak with Kristen. She'll get you in, and she's the person you will see when you walk through the front door. You can get the help you need right now. Look us up online and then give us a call. Chances are very good we can get you in the same day you call. Badger Smiles. Real, honest dentistry.
On the phone with me now, La Crosse School Superintendent, Dr. Aaron Engel. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning.
All right, disturbing news right before I brought him on, because Chergosky and I, the political scientist from UWL, on Friday started the cheese curd war between Culver's and Quick Trip. So I asked Engel over the break if he's got an opinion on cheese curds, and he doesn't. He doesn't have an opinion, really. You kind of have an opinion, but it's not going to pertain very well to a cheese curd war.
Yeah, I'm not a true Wisconsinite. Grew up here, but I'm not a huge fan of cheese in general, and I can't really weigh in on the cheese curd debate. Other than I know that the best ones come from the cheese factory in Rudolph, Wisconsin.
Okay. Do they deep fry them there though, or break? You don't know that.
Not deep fried, just regular cheese.
Just
curd.
cheese curds,
the
yeah.
Original, the OG.
The joke I always have when it comes to like cheese sticks is, would you eat a whole package of string cheese, like those 6-packs of string cheese? And everybody's answer would be absolutely not. That's gross. And I go, what if I cut those all in half so they're not quite as long, and then battered them and deep fried them? Then would you eat them? And the answer is always yes, absolutely, of course. I will eat all of those cheese sticks. But if they're string cheese, I don't know. The perception is really funny. The way we do that.
When you deep fry things, people will eat a lot more of it. People won't eat just like a potato.
Right.
But you go to McDonald's and all of a sudden French fries are great.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll eat. I'm on a weird diet where potatoes is kind of the only thing I can eat right now. So thank God my dad made me hill potatoes and squish. I had to manually squish potato bugs growing up. It made me love potatoes and not hate them, I guess is what I'm getting at. All right, but you text me. I always ask you what's going on this week or what's happened last week when it comes to the school district. You text me that there's a Hinchin Read Your Heart Out event. Can you break that down a little bit?
Yeah, it's this awesome event at Hinchin Elementary School on Friday that brings in diverse authors and really celebrates African American history here for February's Black History Month. And it's just an incredible opportunity to get adults in our classrooms. Kids get to see themselves in the readers, and it's just really fun, awesome time that really celebrates diverse literature and the diversity of our community.
I'm scrambling right now because I sent this to everybody, but you might know this, but I doubt it. Do you know who the first Black person was to run for president?
I mean, a bad guess would be Jesse Jackson.
Nope, it's not, and I'm not gonna have it. I was gonna, so that I don't have my Teams open, so I can't find the message. But apparently, the first Black person to run for president. Now it's gonna be really bad fact because I'm not actually gonna have the name, but either has La Crosse roots or is from La Crosse. Huh. It could be.
Yeah,
I wonder
if it goes all the way back to Reconstruction, probably.
Yeah, and he ran as a third party candidate. I remember a bunch of the other facts, but I don't remember the actual name. And it's on the Historical Society's website, but Teams didn't update for me, so I can't find the message. All right, another thing that I wanted to talk about was we could have broke this news last week if you'd have let me. But you guys unveiled your climate action plan over the week. I think you did that later Monday. So I don't know, Aaron, you could have teased it during the show last week. But climate action plan. It's essentially to be net zero carbon emissions and 50% reduction in landfill waste by 2050. How tough is that going to be?
It's an ambitious goal, but we've got, steps over the next 5 years to start working our way towards that goal. And I think in a lot of ways it's realistic. Net zero will definitely take partnerships with, local power companies and other things. But, it aligns with the city's climate action plan. And we're really thankful for all the partners who came together to help put this thing together.
Depending solely, it's funny to say solely on solar there to get to net zero, or what are some other tricks to doing that?
Solar is certainly a large part of it, and we're putting solar panels on our schools. Polytechnic, one of the last places or most recent places we put solar panels, it accounts for 50% of its energy usage already. So it's not unrealistic to think we could get to 100% over time. Wind power would be another option, not a huge source of power in Wisconsin specifically, but the power companies we purchase our power through absolutely use wind power across the country.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. You're gonna partnership with some power companies that use renewable energy.
Yeah, we couldn't do it all ourselves. We have to purchase power almost regardless, and so ensuring that in collaboration between what we can produce locally and what they produce, we have a net zero carbon emissions.
Yeah. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking like sustainable would mean like you live off the grid. I don't know why I did that in my head, but maybe because it's 6:47 in the morning. Where would you say to cut? What do you want to say? Energy use. Where is the school district using a lot of energy, and how would you cut that?
Yeah, one of those things is lighting, and so we're busy putting in LED lights and using tax credits that are available to help make that happen. So that's a big thing. As we construct and add on buildings, we're thinking about energy usage from the start there. We can use geothermal energy, heat pumps, all sorts of different strategies to minimize, how we heat and cool our buildings, making our buildings kind of naturally resilient to some of those energy fluctuations, temperature fluctuations. So it's multifaceted, kind of anywhere we're looking at energy. I guess another big area would be transportation. So we contract our busing through Go Right Way. We've already largely switched over to propane buses from diesel, which are more energy efficient and produce less carbon dioxide. But as we move forward, we're examining the viability of electric buses and how that would work in our hills and bluffs here.
Have you talked to the city about electric buses? Because I think I'm not sure if they love them.
Yeah, we are absolutely in conversation with the city. Another part of our initiative, quality of life, is trying to ensure our students have access to the city busing so that they're able to use mass transportation more and reduce their personal energy use. I know there's differences between using electric, kind of for routine routes on flat ground versus on hills. And so that's one thing I'll be curious to learn more about.
Yeah, I was talking about like the city's electric buses. I'm not sure they love those. If you understood that or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. There's continually updates and changes in how electric vehicles are working, and maybe the first iteration didn't go so well, but maybe the second or third one might. Yeah,
when we talk about waste reduction inside the school district, is that just like the kids at lunch? There's where most of the waste is.
That is a lot of the waste. Certainly at lunch, we want to beef up our recycling program and create a better culture of recycling. But there's things like milk cartons, which can be recycled if properly disposed of, and then composting waste. There isn't great opportunities right now for mass composting, but that'll be something that we look into as we move forward.
When we were in school, we used tons of paper. Is the school district? I would imagine the school district uses a significantly less amount of paper, but I'm not really sure, because I would guess that the kids still take tests on paper as opposed to like on the iPad or something like that. Are we using a lot less paper?
we do use a lot less paper than we used to, certainly less than 10 years ago even. There's still a few opportunities where, you need to practice cutting things, fine and gross motor skills, times when it makes sense to sketch things out physically or to write physically. But we're able to even take tests and other things online using our learning management systems. And so a lot of teachers hardly print anything anymore.
All right, moving on to the next order of business, the school board race. Does the La Crosse School District get involved in any way now in the school board race, now that we have 6 candidates and we're vying for 3?
Yeah, we're the governmental entity, technically holding the race. And so we don't get involved in terms of, who's running, other than to just make sure the process is as fair and consistent as we can make it, making sure the notices and everything get out to the townships and the clerks on time.
Do you do anything personally then? Or or do you have to just stay out of the race completely?
I guess I've never heard of a superintendent getting involved in the race other than to just promote the school district and ensure, that we've got folks that are interested in running, getting the information out there. We do lots of things to make people aware of school district, school board races and help people find opportunities to learn more. But, mostly we're just here to answer questions and support people as they fill out their paperwork and everything else.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious because in the past we've had like politics gets involved in the school board race sometimes, and not that matters a ton, but when the politics become extreme views that oppose what the school district is trying to achieve, so you have maybe school board candidates, and it doesn't really have to even be politics per se. It could be, but like there was an outside group that was endorsing candidates, and I wouldn't say that was politics per se, but it was just an extreme view outside group. Or if a candidate has extreme views that they're promoting that would be like totally against what the school district is trying to promote, you just let them do their thing and hopefully the voters vote the way you want them to, or maybe personally you want them to.
And at the end of the day, our school board reflects the will of the community, and however that shows up on the school board and whatever direction they provide, that's the direction our school district goes in. We're responsive to local politics in that way. This race doesn't seem to be super partisan at this point as compared to some last ones, which I appreciate. These are nonpartisan elections for a reason. And I will say also that there's a lot of candidates that, maybe come in with some, very unique views leading into the school board election. And once they're on the board, I've had the opportunity to work with any number of folks in this capacity. They slowly come to understand how the school district runs, the reason why we do certain things. And in my time, in 10 years, working with dozens of school board members, maybe 1 or 2 were outliers who didn't see the value of public education and try to make it better.
Last thing, and real quick, we got like a minute here. The La Crosse, Tony Evers' budget, anything in there that you liked, or do you kind of ignore it because it doesn't matter because Republicans are going to do their own budget?
There's lots of good stuff in there for kids, of course. The thing that jumped out to me was more reimbursement for special education. Back in the 1970s, 1980s, when they put special education law in place, they committed to funding that at a 70% level, and we're down to 30% now. And so it's been an unfunded mandate for 4 decades, and having that funding back to help our students who need it the most is crucial.
All right, that's La Crosse School Superintendent Dr. Aaron Engel. Thanks, Engel.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. All right, when we come back, Jane Claycamp, the La Crosse County Administrator, is going to be here in studio. We're going to talk about some of the things County Board did last week, and some other things I had on my list, but I don't have time to talk about them now. We'll be back.
I'm Rick Teska, the owner of Strive Medicare.
I'm Cullen Teska, an agent at Strive Medicare, and I'm here to talk about the open enrollment period for Medicare Advantage plans and how people who are on Medicare Advantage plans still have an opportunity to make a change for 2025. Right now, January to March. It's an opportunity for you if you made what you feel like is the wrong choice, or if you missed the window in the fall to make a change and now you feel stuck, or you feel lost, or you feel frustrated with the plan you chose. You can change now during this time to a new Medicare Advantage plan. This open enrollment period, you have until the end of March to make a plan change if you'd like. All of our services are free, which is surprising. People are always shocked. You can do it, and it's free, and we're here to help.
Strive Medicare, making Medicare simple.
And now with the weather, here's meteorologist Stormy O'Day.
Mom always said, see how high the hornet's nest to tell how high the snow will rest.
Okay, I'll bite. How high was it?
I don't really know. Those hornets are mean.
Like it or not, winter is a fact of life in this area. I'm Mark from Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning in La Crosse. It's never too late to get your furnace checkup. One easy step to help catch any issues that could happen in those frigid months when your heating unit is working hard. Ask about Gold Star Maintenance for year-round comfort. And if it's time for a new heating system, I recommend the Carrier Infinity Furnace with Carrier's Infinity Control. It's been named an Energy Star rated unit. For you, that could mean lower utility bills. Who wouldn't want to save every month on a bill you hate to pay? Turn to the experts, Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, La Crosse, Winona, and Sparta.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Find happiness. Find something familiar and new. Find connection. Find culture. Find community. Find yourself at the La Crosse Symphony.
Get your tickets now for Nordic Heroes on March 1st, sponsored by O'Flaherty Law and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning at lacrossesymphony.org.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Bucks have won 4 in a row. That's after rallying against Miami last night for a 120-113 win. Milwaukee trailed by 8 headed into the fourth quarter when a lineup that didn't include Damian Lillard or Giannis Antetokounmpo went on a 12-2 run to take the lead. Kevin Porter Jr. had 5 points, 2 assists in that run. One of the new additions since the All-Star break. Porter Jr. knows when the Bucks' big two aren't on the floor, others need to step up.
Of course, those are two vital, big pieces to this team. And when they're off the court, we all have to elevate and either maintain or take the league how we did today and go on a 12-2 run. But, everyone's game got to elevate. And for me individually, I'm a natural-born scorer and a playmaker, so I definitely lock in a little more in playmaking when they're off the floor.
Porter Jr. had 11 points for Milwaukee. Lillard led the way for the Bucks with 28 points, 8 assists. Giannis had 23 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists. Gary Trent Jr., 16 points off the bench for Milwaukee. The Heat got 40 points from Wisconsin native Tyler Hero. Milwaukee will be at Houston tomorrow. Turning to the Badgers, they're going to practice today as they get ready for a visit from Washington tomorrow. They'll be looking to bounce back after blowing a 16-point second-half lead to Oregon on Saturday and losing in overtime.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
You're grateful for all the ways technology can connect us. Unfortunately, there are online scammers who want to take advantage. Malicious viruses, phishing scams, and identity theft are more prevalent than ever. That's why Rural Mutual includes cybersecurity protection as an option on every policy.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the NFL Combine gets going this week in Indianapolis. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst slated to meet with the media tomorrow morning. And the Brewers going to face the Mariners this afternoon out in Arizona as Cactus League play continues. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
WISM. News Talk 1410, 92.3 FM, La Crosse. WISM News Time is 7 o'clock.
Had been
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Confusion and chaos reign at government agencies after Elon Musk fired off an email demanding millions of federal workers explain what they did at work last week or face the possibility of losing their jobs. Correspondent Nancy Cordes is at the White House.
While a few agencies urged workers to comply with the email, the FBI, led by Kash Patel, told agents to pause on responding. So did the State Department, led by Marco Rubio, telling staffers that no employee he is obligated to report their activities outside of their department chain of command.
Musk gave midnight as a deadline. President Trump's named right-wing political pundit and podcaster Dan Bongino to serve alongside Kash Patel as deputy director of the FBI. CBS's Christopher Cruz.
Last year, Bongino was asked on the Daily Signal if he wanted to join the FBI.
I've never envisioned myself going back in government again, ever. Like, ever. I can't say that enough.
But he said he'd consider it if President Trump asked. Now he has.
Pope Francis continues to struggle at a hospital in Rome. Correspondent Chris Livesay says crowds have gathered outside.
The faithful poured out prayers for the Holy Father.
I think he's strong, and I think he's okay with whatever happens. Whether he gets better or not, I think he's ready for that outcome.
What started as bronchitis became much worse. The Pope, now suffering from double pneumonia, required high-flow oxygen and blood transfusions. Blood tests revealed early signs of kidney failure.
3 years ago today, Russia invaded Ukraine. Leaders from Canada and the EU are in Kyiv, pledging more military aid as President Trump reopens relations with Russia. Mr. Trump's former national security advisor, retired General H.R. McMaster, tells CBS Mornings.
Putin wants to dominate Ukraine, and he's wanted to dominate Ukraine since he came into office. He's not going to stop until he is stopped.
About 100 cases of the measles have been confirmed in Texas and New Mexico now. Dr. Peter Hotez at Texas Children's Hospital.
Hearing from colleagues on the ground there that there may be many more cases that still haven't yet been confirmed. This is a very serious and very dangerous measles epidemic.
A week before the Oscars, a film about the mystery surrounding the selection of a new pope is gaining traction.
And the winner goes to Conclave.
Conclave won the Screen Actors Guild Top Award for Best Movie Ensemble. Timothy Chalamet took Best Actor for A Complete Unknown.
I know the classiest thing would be to downplay the effort that went into this role and how much this means to me, but the truth is this was 5.5 years of my life.
Dow Futures up 308. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Between all the holiday parties,
weekend tailgates,
and family get-togethers,
we've been overindulging a little more than usual over the holidays. But now, we are starting the new year off on a healthier note by taking Active Liver supplements from New Nordic every day.
Active Liver contains a powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract. All natural ingredients that help protect the liver so that it can protect you from toxins. It's like giving my body a daily detox. I've never felt better and my energy is through the roof.
And my doctor is already impressed with how much better my numbers are looking. So if better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
Active Liver is available in both tablets and as a delicious gummy. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
It was a ho-hum weekend at the box office. Here's CBS's Matt Piper.
At the weekend box office, Captain America Brave New World dives in its second weekend. It still came in on top with $28 million in sales, but it debuted last weekend at $100 million. The biggest new release of the weekend was Oz Perkins the Monkey, coming in second with $14 million. Paddington in Peru came in third with $6.5 million.
A famous face on the ice at a charity hockey game that raised money for the LA wildfire victims.
Bieber and Road, everybody get in. Yeah, everybody get in. We got to fight.
It was Justin Bieber behind the mask, mixing it up with NFL legend Jeremy Roenick.
This is starting to get chippy over here.
Turned out it was all in fun. Bieber, who hails from Canada, skated around afterwards and hyped up the crowd at the Crypto.com arena. Skate LA Strong raised more than $8 million in donations. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America.
La Crosse's official forecast.
Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun today, with daytime highs approaching 54. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Partly cloudy tonight, lows level off around 32. A mix of clouds and sun tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 46. High of 43 Wednesday, with a slight chance for isolated rain showers. 43 Thursday. Currently 43.
Medicare can be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Inspire Medicare is a local family-owned agency who's been helping individuals navigate the complexities of insurance for nearly 40 years. Inspire Medicare offers personalized guidance and support, helping you find the plan that fits you. They will walk you through your options, answer your questions, and help you enroll with ease. Learn more at InspireMedicareLLC.com. Don't have Medicare stress you out. Let Inspire Medicare help.
Find happiness. Find something familiar and new. Find connection. Find culture. Find community. Find yourself at the La Crosse Symphony.
Get your tickets now for Nordic Heroes on March 1st, sponsored by O'Flaherty Law and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning at lacrossesymphony.org.
Ready to take the plunge? Join us for the Special Olympics Wisconsin Polar Plunge in La Crosse on March 1st at Black River Beach. Brave souls will dive into the icy waters to support local athletes. It's more than just a chilly challenge, it's an opportunity to make a huge impact. Sign up to take the plunge or donate to support Special Olympics Wisconsin. For more info and to register, visit plungewi.org or head to specialolympicswisconsin.org. Don't miss the fun and the freezing splash of a lifetime. We'll see you at the Polar Plunge.
For WisdomNews.com, I'm Brad Williams. A man from South Elgin, Illinois is awaiting charges after trying to run from a Trempealeau County deputy on Friday night. The deputy saw a vehicle speeding on I-94 near Osseo. As he went to pull over the vehicle, it left the interstate and drove into Osseo. The suspect eventually drove into the parking lot of a business, lost control, and crashed into a parked semi-trailer. The driver, identified as Darnell Davis, was hurt in the crash. After getting checked out at a local hospital, he was taken to the Trempealeau County Jail. A firearm was found inside his vehicle when it was searched. 2 more people have been charged with murder in the death of a transgender man from Minnesota, who authorities say was tortured for more than a month before being killed in upstate New York. State police said the pair were charged with second-degree murder. 5 other people charged with murder last week in the death of Sam Nordquist. Nordquist grew up in Red Wing but was living in the Twin Cities when he went to the Finger Lakes area last September. He was reported missing on February 9th. Viterbo University is announcing its commitment to diversity and inclusion efforts. The university president, Rick Tritely, has released a statement saying diverse backgrounds and experiences are welcomed and respected at Viterbo. Tritely says recent government directives on diversity have raised concerns about policies at the school, and he says upholding diverse values reflects who we are as a Catholic Franciscan university. The chance of getting Delta Airlines back to La Crosse has gotten better, according to one local airport official. Business manager J.D. Roberts says Delta is open to the idea of restoring service to the local airport 2 years after the company ended its regular flights through LSE.
There's a couple different ways we could do it with Delta or with a regional carrier like SkyWest, flying Delta planes up there and attacking it that way. So we had a really good productive meeting on that end. Where they definitely said let's talk, let's have some more information, and that is better than we've done in recent past.
American is the only airline now providing regular flights at the La Crosse Airport. Roberts attended a recent industry conference where he made contact with 6 different airlines. The month of February will be ending this week, and La Crosse's cold spell seems to be ending as well. On Saturday, La Crosse's high of 30 was the highest temperature seen in the city in 16 days. and it ended a 5-day stretch of sub-zero low temperatures. The Weather Service says the snow depth in La Crosse has dropped below 5 inches for the first time in over a week. A high above 50 is being forecast for Friday. Fresh off his first Cy Young Award, Chris Sale opened spring training with 2 perfect innings for the Atlanta Braves this weekend. Atlanta lost to the Minnesota Twins 3-1, but Sale retired all 6 of his batters, although he did not strike anybody out. Sale is entering his second year with the Braves. He played minor league ball with the La Crosse Loggers in 2008. For WIZM News, I'm Brad Williams.
Your source for news. WIZM News and WIZMnews.com.
Good morning, La Crosse. Welcome back to La Crosse Talk. In the studio with me now, La Crosse County Administrator Jane Claycamp.
Good morning.
Walked all the way over here from county building. You have to pay for parking over there?
No.
Does anyone else?
No.
No, okay.
Can
I go over there?
Yes, you could go over there, and as long as you park in the visitor parking, it is free.
Is it a 2-hour limit? I'm just waiting for the time when the city charges for on-street parking and what I'm going to do, though. But I bought a pretty nice bike, so it's hard to do at 5 a.m. though. You can't really bike.
And in the winter
at 55 on a 55-mile-an-hour road.
I agree. Dangerous too. Dangerous.
Who is the county administrator beholden to?
The county board.
The county board. Mm-hmm. So if they wanted to fire you per se,
that's who does it. Yeah, need a majority.
When I don't know if you'll know all the how long have we had a county administrator?
I believe since 2000 and maybe 2001 or 2002, something like that.
Was it just the other guy and then you, or is it?
So yes, the county administrator was Steve O'Malley, and then me. Before that, we had something called administrative coordinators for just a few years. So when I started at La Crosse County in 1989, everybody should laugh at that. It's a long time ago.
I was 11.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of old.
And by the way, I was only 22. So see, I was very young. So then what happened?
We don't look 80, whatever the age is.
Thank you. I appreciate the fact I don't look 80. Is that the county board chair, along with the chairs of the standing committees, made up an executive committee, and they basically ran the county. So it was a much more involved job as an elected official back in the day, because though they ran all the committees. So right now, and I'm not saying it's the opposite way, because it wouldn't be backwards, but staff and the administrator often determine what goes to the board, to the committees. Obviously, the board and the committee chairs and the committees can ask for future agenda items. So what happens now is there's often a request for something on a committee agenda in the future. Staff and I put the information together and present it. But back in 1989, that was all done by committees. They decided everything. It was really challenging. As a staff person, because I was there, it was also challenging because you never really knew where things were going to come from or who you were responsible to. It was pretty challenging.
Would you say the board was, I don't know how to put this without, like, more important or more involved, or you needed to depend on them a little bit more?
Different is what I would say, because the board is really important to helping us set the agenda and priorities. So super important. The difference now is that I work with the department heads to get things ready for the board so that it's not quite, I would say, again, this is my personal perspective, it's not quite as messy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like you dumb it down maybe a little bit. I don't know if dumb it down is a I think we make it more understandable. Terms? Yeah, for sure.
Even for the public. Our goal is to make it so anybody can understand it. So I guess I think that's the important change that I noticed for when I started. Part of it also, since I just said this, I was 22 and didn't understand much about anything, but didn't understand how the county worked, didn't understand how things got passed, felt like it was the whim of the day. So I think over the past 25 years, there's been a lot more work done on how to make government more understandable, how to make things more transparent, how to make things just easier for the public so that people don't have to dig for everything. And that's a work in progress. We're still working on that. There are still people who don't think we do a good enough job. I would tend to agree, but it's also hard to change everything in a minute.
Well, for some reason, when I go to the county agenda or your monthly agenda, you had the monthly meeting last week. Every time I click a link, it doesn't make me download the PDF. You're advanced there, where the city you have to download every PDF. It doesn't just open in a new window, which is like maybe a computer thing, but I don't think it is. I think it's a website thing. But also, the cities kind of changed this too. They have what they call in their agendas or whatever staff reports. So you can kind of read a summary, but it's from the staff. You have, is that your analysis? Is that kind of the same thing if you go to the county board?
Some departments do that more than others, and it depends upon the complexity of the project. So, for example, zoning does that a lot because things in zoning are complicated, right? There's somebody wanting something, whether or not it follows the rules or code or whatever it is. Other things are pretty self-explanatory. So there are some resolutions if we're accepting, $100,000 from the state of Wisconsin to help with opioids. That doesn't need all of that. But sometimes when it's more complex,
we had two of those on last week's agenda. And then there's something called clean, which you're just cleaning up language. Do you think that's what that means?
So we have ordinances are, the code of ordinances is the county's law book, right? It's our ordinances, it's our laws that apply to the county. So that's different than a resolution, and that a resolution is something that passes to accept some money or make a rule that's...
The whereas this and the whereas that.
That's a resolution. But an ordinance change, what happens is that we show the old ordinance, and then we show the new ordinance that's clean.
The clean
but we
version.
also show the one that shows all the markups.
Yeah.
So that anybody who wants as far in the weeds as they want to get, meaning they can look at all three of those if they want to. So and then there is an analysis of those. It explains what it's doing in very simple terms, but that's what happens with all ordinance changes.
I literally did that with ChatGPT the other day because I'm like, hey, can you show me where you changed my story?
Yeah.
And then they bullet pointed it because the AI loves bullet points.
Does it?
Yeah. And then I said, no, just bold the things that you change in the story because I don't. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And they put a smiley face. ChatGPT is so personal. All right, we're going to continue this conversation. I got more questions about being a county administrator as the city talks about having potentially a city administrator, but we'll be back in a minute.
In poker, 4 of a kind is great, but for your home, the 4 seasons are tough. Protect your home with roofing and siding from Ace of All Trades. Your best bet is to call Ace of All Trades for a free roofing and siding estimate. Ace of All Trades, AOATExtreme.com. Repeat after me, AOAT Extreme.com.
Local guests, local talk, and the news that affects you in La Crosse. It's La Crosse Talk on WISM. Weekday mornings from 6 until 8 a.m. Brought to you by Sealands Flooring, Carpeting, Hardwood, and Tile in Coon Valley. La Crosse Talk on WISM News, 92.3 FM and 1410 AM.
I'm Rick Teska, the owner of Strive Medicare.
I'm Cullen Teska, an agent at Strive Medicare, and I'm here to talk about the open enrollment period for Medicare Advantage plans and how people who are on Medicare Advantage plans still have an opportunity to make a change for 2025. Right now, January to March. It's an opportunity for you if you made what you feel like is the wrong choice, or if you missed the window in the fall to make a change and now you feel stuck, or you feel lost, or you feel frustrated with the plan you chose. You can change now during this time to a new Medicare Advantage plan. This open enrollment period, you have until the end of March to make a plan change if you'd like. All of our services are free, which is surprising. People are always shocked. You can do it, and it's free, and we're here to help.
Strive Medicare, making Medicare simple.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Habitat for Humanity Repair provides skilled, licensed, and insured contractors regardless of household income. Repair focuses on accessibility upgrades, code violations, emergency repairs, and handyperson projects. For more information, visit habitatlacrosse.org/repair.
WISM Weather is brought to you by Inspire Medicare.
La Crosse's official forecast.
Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun today, with daytime highs approaching 54. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Partly cloudy tonight, lows level off around 32. A mix of clouds and sun tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 46. High of 43 Wednesday, with a slight chance for isolated rain showers, 43 Thursday. Right now, 45.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Bucks have won 4 in a row. That's after rallying against Miami last night for a 120-113 win. Milwaukee trailed by 8 headed into the fourth quarter when a lineup that didn't include Damian Lillard or Giannis Antetokounmpo went on a 12-2 run to take the lead. Kevin Porter Jr. had 5 points, 2 assists in that run. One of the new additions since the All-Star break. Porter Jr. knows when the Bucks' big two aren't on the floor, others need to step up.
Of course, those are two vital, big pieces to this team. And when they're off the court, we all have to elevate and either maintain or take the league how we did today and go on a 12-2 run. But, everyone's game got to elevate. And for me individually, I'm a natural-born scorer and a playmaker, so I definitely lock in a little more in playmaking when they're off the floor.
Porter Jr. had 11 points for Milwaukee. Lillard led the way for the Bucks with 28 points, 8 assists. Giannis had 23 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists. Gary Trent Jr., 16 points off the bench for Milwaukee. The Heat got 40 points from Wisconsin native Tyler Hero. Milwaukee will be at Houston tomorrow. Turning to the Badgers, they're going to practice today as they get ready for a visit from Washington tomorrow. They'll be looking to bounce back after blowing a 16-point second-half lead to Oregon on Saturday and losing in overtime.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
You're grateful for all the ways technology can connect us. Unfortunately, there are online scammers who want to take advantage. Malicious viruses, phishing scams, and identity theft are more prevalent than ever. That's why Rural Mutual includes cybersecurity protection as an option on every policy.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the NFL Combine gets going this week in Indianapolis. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst slated to meet with the media tomorrow morning. And the Brewers going to face the Mariners this afternoon out in Arizona as Cactus League play continues. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil-Perrin.
Good morning, La Crosse. Welcome back. Welcome to La Crosse Talk. I'm Rick Solem in the studio with me, Jane Claycamp, the La Crosse County Administrator, who's beholden to the La Crosse County Board. We learned that. As the city, so I probably didn't set this up right, but I did talk about it last hour, and I think it's pretty common knowledge for anyone that's deep diving into or lives in the city. I guess the city of La Crosse has a mayor's race on the ballot, and they are also, I would say, a city administrator is on the ballot in a way. How would these two mayor candidates vote in terms of a city administrator? And just the idea that the county has a county administrator, which is similar, would be a similar job, right, Jane? Your job, if you could do the city's job, be similar?
I mean, it's an administrator job. So, yes, they are similar in that they're government, administration. Cities and counties are different in a lot of ways, but one, I guess it depends upon how talented one is as an administrator.
Apples to oranges, or is your job easier or harder? Let's take out the fact that there's a mayor.
I don't know.
There is no city administrator in La Crosse to offend, although there's a guy named Rick in Onalaska who might be offended.
I think counties are, and I am most familiar with counties. Counties have a lot of different kinds of things that cities don't have, which doesn't mean that a city isn't complex. Because people are all kind of mushed together in a city or a village. But I think counties, how we are complicated is we have things like nursing homes, and we have things like solid waste, and we have things like a jail and child protection and health department. Yes, those things are challenging, and because there's so much interaction with people, that's where things can happen. But the city would say, well, we have a police department, challenging. Check. I agree. roads, check, challenge. I mean, so it's swimming pools, challenging. All of those things might be true. So I just am not as familiar with it. So I don't know if I think counties are more
administrators in the county, if the job's harder or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you don't have the mayor factor. So depending on how the city creates this position, the mayor could be the overseer of the city administrator or the council.
I guess
and then
so.
If the mayor was the overseer, that would probably make your job a little bit different. You know, if the county had a mayor, I don't know if counties have mayors. Maybe
I don't know.
I don't know if that's a Wisconsin thing or.
I feel like I heard recently that some county had something like that, but I don't know. It's not anything I'm familiar with.
Yeah, that's in Minnesota. And I think it's a cat.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding.
So we have the county board chair, right? Yeah. And then there's a first and second vice chair. So I think of them as board leadership and who I report to. But you're right, there isn't a mayor, and I don't know how that would make it easier or more challenging.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like the power struggle. If you got a mayor in there that just didn't like you, if you were like, I don't like city administrators. I don't want somebody that is going to have responsibility that I want the response. I don't know.
Boy,
it's a weird, it's an inside politics kind of thing.
It is inside politics, and I have no opinion on it.
But that's going to be part of the challenge for the city is creating a county or a city administrator and, carving out what they oversee, what they do versus what the mayor does versus what the council does. And that's what I was kind of getting at. You said in 1989 you started. I'm just going to bring that up again.
That's okay.
And then at some point in the early 2000s, the La Crosse County got an administrator.
Yes.
Do you remember any of that? Like, how is this going to work? The hierarchy of...
that was probably, inside baseball kinds of stuff because I would have been young in the role I would have been in. I wouldn't have been involved in the political part of the county very much, except during budget time.
Is there somebody that's been there longer than 1989 that we could talk to?
Ralph Geary, Steve Doyle have both been on the board. And
so they might have a pretty good insight here.
Yes,
okay.
I also believe just through knowing and understanding how things work, it wasn't necessarily an easy decision. And I think that's why they started with something called an administrative coordinator. Because if you look at state statute, an administrative coordinator has less authority than a county administrator. So there were at least two people that were administrative coordinators. And then when Steve O'Malley was hired, then it was the county administrator.
Okay.
So I think that they tried a couple of different things before they landed on what worked best for the county.
All right. When we come back with Jane Claycamp, the La Crosse County administrator, we'll see what we get to. During the monthly meeting last week, one of the things that you discussed was funding requests before and after the budget, or maybe, well, I guess we'll have to deep dive into this a little bit. Just the idea that a nonprofit comes to you and says, "Hey, we want $100,000."
Yes.
And that's a thing that the county board did last time and has done for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
But you want to change how that happens. Or you did change, right? Did you change it?
Working. Hasn't changed yet.
Hasn't changed yet.
An ordinance change, yep.
Okay, so I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about a conversation when we talk about city and county stuff that I had with John Colvari last week about regionalizing assets. So the idea that the burden is put on city taxpayers for things like the airport or the La Crosse Center, or you talk about pools, stuff like that, where regionalizing them now, almost just like, can the city just trade you the La Crosse Center? Here, you take it. And then, so anyway, we'll let Jane think about that, and we'll be back in a few.
Meet Lee Lomas at Coretta Senior Living in Holmen.
I'm the executive director here at Coretta Senior Living in Holmen. The staff and residents relationships we build here is really unique because we're not very big, so the residents know who's coming into their room. It's a very tight-knit group that puts the residents at ease, especially on our memory care side.
Go to CorettaSeniorLiving.com to request an informational pamphlet and then get in touch.
Coretta is spelled C-A-R-E-T-T-A, and care is in our name.
At Solem's Carpetland, your family comes first. We're more than just a flooring store. We're your partners in creating a home that lasts a lifetime. Discover a world of comfort and durability with our huge selection. Whether it's cozy carpeting for your living room, timeless hardwood for a classic touch, or versatile tiles that stand up to the hustle and bustle of family life. Solem's Carpetland in Coon Valley. Our number one priority is you. stop in today.
It's Dr. Terry Cowgill, and I'm still keeping you smiling at Badger Smiles. We've made it a priority to get people in the same day they call. So if you have a problem with your tooth, something that hurts when you bite on it, something just doesn't look right, call the office. You'll speak with Kristen. She'll get you in, and she's the person you will see when you walk through the front door. You can get the help you need right now. Look us up online and then give us a call. Chances are very good we can get you in the same day you call. Badger Smiles. Real, honest dentistry.
As I see it, I'm Brad Williams. What does your clothing say about you? Do you try to make a good impression? Do you identify with the Woodstock era in that you can wear what you want and you don't care how others react? Or do you purposely wear something provocative to make others upset? For example, maybe you live in Wisconsin, Packers territory, and decide to wear a Vikings or Bears shirt just to rile people up. Supporters of President Trump have sent out an online advertisement for a t-shirt under the heading New Trump Merch. The sales pitch is for an official Doge shirt with the pictures of Trump and Elon Musk on them. The sales message was, "Can you imagine the looks you'll get from radical liberals when you wear that shirt? It'll be hysterical," they say. So wear this shirt to show your support for Trump, and in the process, you'll make other people mad or possibly make them cry. I remember the first President Bush campaigning in the 80s on the theme of a kinder, gentler America. I don't think wearing a shirt to make other people upset is what he had in mind. I'm Brad Williams on WISM.
La Crosse's source for news and information. WISM is WIZM. La Crosse, News Talk 1410 AM, 92.3 FM.
CBS News Brief. Every federal worker faces a midnight deadline from Elon Musk to list 5 things they did last week or face firings. Former federal prosecutor Sarah Levine tells CBS she was already let go.
Because I did my job. I mean, it's really that simple. I went in, I followed the facts, I followed the law, and I got fired because I did exactly what I was supposed to do.
The Vatican says Pope Francis has been able to get up and eat after he was diagnosed with early signs of kidney failure. CBS News Vatican consultant Father Anthony Figueiredo.
Quite recently as well, he indicated that should he die, he hopes it will be quickly rather than a long period of suffering.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is among world leaders in Kyiv, marking 3 years since Russia's invasion.
We must do everything in our power to enable Ukraine to secure a just and lasting peace.
CBS News Brief. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
Hurry into Menards and save big money on your appliance upgrade. You need reliable and energy-efficient appliances to conquer the day. Menards is your one-stop shop with the largest in-stock appliance selection ready to take home today. Check out our top appliance brands including KitchenAid, Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, and Criterion. Save big money on all appliances at Menards and check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
I'm on the line with Kevin Carlson from Rural Mutual Insurance in Holmen. Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Ken.
I know it's tax season. What does that have to do with talking to you about insurance?
Well, Ken, with tax season upon us right now, generally a lot of people start looking at their finances. Are they on track with their strategy or their plan? It's a good opportunity to make insurance part of that financial plan. So whether we're talking about auto, home insurance, or life insurance, making sure your coverage is updated and you're prepared for anything that might come along in the new year.
To be prepared, that's really what it's all about, right?
It is. And again, I'm just telling people make insurance part of that financial plan.
How do we find you, Kevin?
You can reach me at 608-526-2426. I'm located in the post office building in Holmen.
And if we want to just Google Kevin Carlson, Rural Mutual Insurance, I bet we'll find you that way too, huh?
You sure will.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The 15th Annual Oneota Film Festival is happening March 6th through the 9th in Decorah. Events will be happening throughout the weekend and all around Decorah. Have conversations with filmmakers and enjoy as many of the 60 films being screened as you can. You'll find documentaries, narratives, short films, animated films, and student films. And thanks to local businesses, it's all free to you at the 15th Annual Oneota Film Festival, March 6th through the 9th. WISM News is brought to you by Emerge 360.
For WisdomNews.com, I'm Brad Williams. The La Crosse area may feel more spring-like this week, with the Weather Service predicting highs in the 40s or even 50s. Monday's high could come close to 50 following 2 weeks of temperatures mostly below normal. The city had daily low temps below zero from Monday through Friday of last week, and Saturday's high of 30 was the warmest temperature in La Crosse in over 2 weeks. A man from Illinois awaiting charges in Trempealeau County after trying to run from a deputy. Just before 10 p.m. on Friday, the deputy saw a vehicle speeding on I-94 near Osseo. As the deputy went to pull over the vehicle, it left the interstate and drove into Osseo. The suspect eventually drove into the parking lot of a business, lost control, and crashed into a parked semi-trailer. An airline which departed La Crosse for good 2 years ago might be lured back to restore regular passenger flights. The city's aviation board has been told of progress in perhaps getting Delta Airlines to resume service through La Crosse, which ended in the summer of 2023. J.D. Roberts, the airport business manager, recently reported to the board about his meetings with several airlines at an out-of-town conference.
They will meet with airports and things like that, trying to further conversations about, returning to airports, having some additional service, different things like that. So we had a really successful one. We talked with 6 different airlines this last time.
Roberts says a pilot shortage was a major reason why Delta ended its regular service to La Crosse, but the shortage has abated. American Airlines still offers flights through La Crosse, and Sun Country will soon begin a bus transfer service between La Crosse and Minneapolis. La Crosse's Katie Kotlowski and the top-ranked University of Wisconsin women's hockey team finished the regular season off with a pair of 6-1 wins this weekend at Bemidji State. Kotlowski is in her final collegiate season and plays defense for the 31-2 Badgers. Their only loss this season came at number 2 Ohio State back in mid-November. Wisconsin now heads home to open the conference tournament with, again, Bemidji State in a 3-game series on Friday and Saturday. UW plays the first 2 games at home, which are both already sold out. The NCAA tournament starts March 13th. Onalaska native Lexi Donarski was perfect on Sunday in scoring 13 points as the number 9 North Carolina women's basketball team came back to beat Louisville on the road, 79-75. Donarski played a team-high 37 minutes and was 5 for 5 from the field, including 2 of 2 from deep for the 25-4 Tar Heels. They're the only team in the NCAA unbeaten on the road. Donarski in her final collegiate season has now scored in double figures for 8 of her last 11 games. Over that stretch, the North Carolina team is 10-1 and has won 7 in a row. For Wisdom News, I'm Brad Williams.
For more on these stories, visit WisdomNews.com. It's where La Crosse gets its news.
All right, welcome back to La Crosse Talk. I'm Rick Solem in the studio with me, Jane Claycamp, the La Crosse County Administrator. Kept doing show. We just kept doing show throughout because part of when Jane comes in here is we're going to teach Rick civics. And so I'm asking her about tax levies. What was it? Regional? What was the other half of that?
Enterprise or a business fund?
Enterprise or a business fund. And can you turn that so it's facing you?
Yes, I can turn that so it's facing me.
Yes. Because I was like, if I was throwing Jane NBA trade analogies as if the La Crosse Center was an aging asset who still had some fuel in the tank on it. If the La Crosse Center was Damian Lillard, who makes $50 million a year, but it is still an incredible player. And that's a bad example because the La Crosse Center isn't going to decline, but it will need, again,
sure. All kinds
what
of
is it? The maintenance, deferred, not deferred maintenance,
just
but maintenance in general.
Yep.
So if the city traded the county, the La Crosse Center, as if it was Damian Lillard, who you could keep going with some, robotics and I don't know. It's kind of a bad analogy, but would the city also have to throw in a couple of first-round draft picks, or would the county be like, yay, yeah, we'll take the La Crosse Center. What an asset. We love it. Another analogy I gave to the Brewers president, Rick Schlesinger, So when the Brewers are doing the $500 million taxpayer-funded stadium upgrades, I'm like, what is, instead of doing that, Rick, what if we just gave you the stadium for $1? Kind of like the city does that every once in a while. I don't know if does the county ever have old buildings, and we're just like, just take it.
Yep. Or yes, something. We do that periodically. Yes.
And he was like, no, we wouldn't make any money that way.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, well then, so that's kind of how I feel like that's without any background knowledge and throwing this at you at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
The county's like, we're good. We don't need the lacrosse center.
Everything deserves a lot of conversation. That's what I've learned since 1989. That's what I've learned is that
this is you throwing 89 out now. It's your fault.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I think that, obviously the board would be involved in that discussion if it was even a thing. So let's just take it
and it's not a thing.
Let's just say that it would be a thing. So there would be many, many discussions because you were talking about regionalization, and the state has recently made regionalization a thing too.
Regionalizing assets.
Regionalizing assets. And it's easy to say that, but when you're sitting down with all the municipalities to talk about regionalization, it becomes much more challenging because there is some give and take there, and that's hard for people to do. And so I can say, sure, we could have a conversation or many conversations, but I have absolutely no idea where that would go. But
does the county have fire? You don't do fire at all.
No.
When you talk about what cities do and counties don't. Because, God, that was a conversation we were going to have, the idea of regionalizing a new fire department by the mall.
Yeah.
And could Onalaska and the city of La Crosse like team up, if not for the whole fire department, just maybe in that regard.
Yeah.
Go halvesies there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Another conversation I got to have with Kavari because I think he's studied some of this stuff.
Yep.
All right. What else can we talk about here? Oh, the last week's monthly meeting. Is this regionalizing assets as well? No, this is what are we calling it? Is funding?
Oh, the outside requests?
Funding requests.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So when nonprofits come to you, in the last, how many years have you done this where nonprofits say, hey, can we get some funds from the county, and you've granted these funds?
Yep.
And the number of nonprofits, it keeps growing, right? Oh, they're doing what? Oh, I'm going to ask too, right? That's kind of how that happened, but.
Yep. So the historically there are always requests for funding, sometimes during the budget process, sometimes outside of the budget process. And last year there are a number of new county board supervisors, and that's actually happened the last two elections, that the historical kind of process that was in place where if an outside request was made, it happened usually to the administrator. The administrator decided if it went into the budget. Usually there were some matching dollars. There were all kinds of things that went along with it. That process didn't work great. There was a process put in place where a form, people could make a request for funding. That was done, and yet still at the last minute, there were some requests made, and it really became where hundreds of thousands of dollars at the last minute without much information. I don't want to put a good or bad word on that, but without a lot of information for the boards, they were making decisions without much information, which I believe they would be the first to admit that's not helpful when they are asked for money at the last minute. So
from groups that are positive, right? You're like, I like these guys, and now I feel bad. Yeah. Oh, you really need
right. When the Lions Club wants to build a bathroom, it's hard to be like, no, Lions Club, we aren't giving you money for it. It's hard to do, and that's what many of the requests are for. Lots of people, lots of organizations asking for accessible bathrooms. I mean, that's challenging for a county board supervisor. I totally get it.
Because these county board members are talking about things that are in their district.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, right. And it might be all across the county. So it's just a tough thing for them to make a decision on. So afterwards, the board asked staff, this would be a good example, they said, we want a policy made about how we review these outside requests. So staff put together some ideas. They chose the one they wanted us to put forward. And so what we're saying is, once I say to the board, hey board, here's the budget that I developed, then
what month do you think that is?
That will be in September.
Okay.
Then there won't be any outside requests coming into them at the last minute. So
hear that, nonprofits? You got till September.
That's correct. So but that doesn't mean during other parts of the year the board won't consider. So, for example, if a county board supervisor was thinking, I want $5,000 to go to something, they could ask for a resolution that would go to the board to give an organization $5,000 or $50,000 or $100,000. But for it to get into the budget, it has to come to me earlier on.
Is there a cap? Salary cap, so to speak? Like, hey, we should add you can't ask for more than $200,000 or something
There
like that.
isn't. But obviously, most organizations understand that while the county has a large budget, that doesn't mean our pockets are super deep.
All right, I want to ask about the airport and their funding requests, but we got to take a break. We'll be back in a few.
And now with the weather, here's meteorologist Stormy O'Day.
Mama always said, see how high the hornet's nest to tell how high the snow will rest.
Okay, I'll bite. How high was it?
I don't really know. Those hornets are mean.
Like it or not, winter is a fact of life in this area. I'm Mark from Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning in La Crosse. It's never too late to get your furnace checkup. One easy step to help catch any issues that could happen in those frigid months when your heating unit is working hard. Ask about Gold Star Maintenance for year-round comfort. And if it's time for a new heating system, I recommend the Carrier Infinity Furnace with Carrier's Infinity Control. It's been named an Energy Star rated unit. For you, that could mean lower utility bills. Who wouldn't want to save every month on a bill you hate to pay? Turn to the experts, Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, La Crosse, Winona, and Sparta.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
And a lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, Arch Support Specialist at the Good Feet store.
He came in and he wanted to be able to keep up, play sports with his kids. From there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports, and as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes, and those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit us at 40 Copeland Avenue in La Crosse, at 2909 Mall Drive in Eau Claire, and at goodfeet.com.
The winner of Wisconsin's Best Radio Feature from the Milwaukee Press Club and honored by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. This is What's Buried on Brad's Desk.
Time for What's Buried in Your Kitchen, in the cupboards and drawers and even on your counters. Recently, a website called Money Pop examined kitchen appliances, and in particular, devices that were invented to save time and work, but which these experts say are all just a waste of money and space. Prominent on their list of pointless inventions is the electric can opener. What's wrong with using your hands? And an old-fashioned opener, they wonder. Coffee makers also get the heave-ho from Money Pop. What's wrong with coffee pots on the stove? And a popcorn popper. Once again, they say top of the stove is just as good for making popcorn. Certainly there are several items they found that you don't really need, like a pasta maker or a pancake printer, which can cook a pancake in a specific design, such as looking like an astronaut. They say throw out the pizza scissors, the tuna press, a s'mores maker, a banana slicer, or the pickle picker, a special fork to take pickles out of a jar. Are you people trying to tell inventors not to invent new stuff, that we already have everything we'll ever need? If shoppers want to spend some bucks on convenience devices, let them. Unless they need to save that precious kitchen counter space for cookie jars, right? I'm Brad Williams.
Yeah, this song. Okay, we'll get rid of this song. All right, welcome back. I'm Rick Solem. Jane Claycamp in the studio with me. She's the La Crosse County Administrator. Just going to wrap up here. So the funding request thing, we're not done with that? We're not done?
Nope. It's an ordinance change. So in the world of county government, if there's an ordinance change, which like I said is our laws, it has to go through the county board twice. So there's a first reading, and then at the second reading, they vote on it. So if no changes are made, then the vote will happen in March. If some major changes are made to it in March, then it would probably be April.
Okay. One more thing. Let's just see. I was going to do this. I'll give you a couple minutes to talk about it. Federal funding. That's been a question for a lot of different institutions.
Sure.
nonprofits, even just I think everything. I think everything is affected by federal funding or federal job cuts. Is the La Crosse County affected by this?
We would be greatly affected if there had been cuts that were related to us. So I'm going to give us an easy example is Medicaid. So we get over $50 million. The county gets over $50 million in federal funds, but Medicaid is something that if we didn't get Medicaid for our long-term care or nursing homes, it would be catastrophic. Medicaid also is something that funds things like community-based residential facilities or group homes and different things like that for people who have a disability. So I try not to catastrophize, but it really would be catastrophic to the county budget if Medicaid was cut. Other things didn't
the House just pass? A House committee just passed Medicaid funding cuts?
They may have.
Yeah.
I think part of it is everything is so up in the air. It's hard there's so many different things happening all at once. So I tend to get my information from a couple of sources at the state level that, weed through it and figure out what I really need to pay attention to because there's so much noise right now. So I really try to be very specific about what I pay attention to because there's so much. So that would be an example. Yes, the House could have done that. And so, if that happens, it really would be extremely challenging for a lot of people.
From what I understand, the thing with that is if it gets to the Senate too, it can't be filibustered, or they don't have to filibuster it. They can make it a budget resolution, which because it deals with money, they could just pass it with a 50 vote. So
that could be
Medicaid funding. So is that top number one in terms of
for me?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying everybody would, but if you ask Jane Claycamp, county administrator, Medicaid funding, if that went away, would be very challenging.
Does that affect? How much would that affect? Obviously, you're upgrading the Hillview Healthcare Center. Because of this, would it affect that?
Sure.
We've invested $20 million into upgrading that thing, and now we're going to lose would we lose a whole wing of that? Because
both the nursing home and the community-based residential facility certainly utilize Medicaid. So yes, I have no idea if it would be enough to make it so Hillview wouldn't be a thing, or Lakeview, because we have 2 long-term care facilities. Mm-hmm. But La Crosse County is one of the very few organizations that take people who are on Medicaid. So that would actually cause bigger ripples throughout the community if we weren't able to continue to operate our long-term care facilities.
So federal government gives about $50 million a year
to La Crosse County.
So all different things.
Yep, and I can't remember if that includes long-term care or not.
That was my next question. Is that part of it? So maybe more.
It might be more.
Any idea what that funding is? It millions?
Probably. If for long-term care for Medicaid, millions. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then I cut you off. You were going to give another example or another. You probably forgot though.
I was going to say things like I think the other things that are funded through Medicaid are integrated support and recovery services, which is all, they work with people who have mental health and substance abuse along with other disabilities. So aging kinds of programs, lots of things go along with Medicaid. And so that would be challenging.
Medicaid doesn't pay enough. Is that why other groups don't accept it? We're just not going to accept it because we're not going to break even.
Yes.
Because healthcare is for profit in general.
Well, I'm going to say, I guess I'm going to say one, I don't know that for sure. But I think Medicaid does not pay a lot. It doesn't have a high reimbursement rate. That is a true statement.
So what we should be doing is the opposite. We should be funding Medicaid more so it can reimburse. And then the county would get a little bit more back.
That would be helpful.
To help pay for that. Yeah. Any other examples where federal funding cuts would really affect,
I'm trying to think if it would be WIC, which is Women, Infants, and Children. It might affect that. I can't remember all the places that Medicaid comes in, but
not Medicaid, but just in general.
Yeah. So child protection would be a place. Women, infants, and children is certainly a place. I'm trying to think of what else off the top of my head, but yeah.
What about roads?
Oh, well, sure. Federal funding comes through roads, but that's not through Medicaid, right? That's a different kind of federal funding.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't know if federal funding is being cut there, but
so then federal funding goes through states. So yes, it probably would. A broadband could be affected because there was lots of broadband funding that happened historically that I'm not sure is going to happen. So there are infrastructure things too that I just don't know where it's going to come out, which is why I sort of don't pay a lot of attention until I know what's going to happen because there's so many opinions on what's going to happen.
Okay. Who's your source in the state government?
We
I'm
get,
just kidding.
No, we get stuff from Wisconsin Counties Association, and they do great stuff on trying to make it palatable.
Okay. I feel like the Medicaid thing, like passed committee, and it's, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the House is pretty slim majorities right now, and some people are working on, we'll see if it passes through the House, then gets to the Senate in terms of Medicaid funding cuts. Medicare is, I think, also being, and SNAP, and they're talking about Social Security as well.
Food share is a big one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. That's La Crosse County Administrator Jane Claycamp. Thanks, Jane.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Coming up tomorrow, La Crosse Assembly Rep. There we go. La Crosse Assembly Rep Jill Billings will be in studio. I believe she'll be in studio. I don't know if she's going to be in Madison. A lot of times during the week they're in Madison, but I believe she will be here. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
At Solem's Carpetland, your family comes first. We're more than just a flooring store. We're your partners in creating a home that lasts.